Hello again, it's Rebecca from Adventures in Nutrition. I hope you are having a wonderful day wherever you are in this world and you're seeing this. And this is video number 5 on the 5 biggest mistakes I made on my weight loss journey. I hope that you were able to take some time to see the other 4 videos, and I want you to know that I really spent some time thinking about the role that each one of those played in my life, and I spoke from my heart, and I hope that something equally spoke to you, and you probably get a really good sense by now where I'm coming from. And I would actually like to get a sense and learn where you're at and where you're coming from. If you're willing to share, I would love to hear about it. Your journey, your truth, right? This has been my journey and my truth. So continuing on with number 5. All right, so let's rock and roll. Here we go. Mistake number 5, I think for me, was not doing the internal work or visualizing who I wanted to be and how I wanted to feel at the end of this journey. And probably part of that mistake was actually thinking that there was an end to the journey. Why should there be an end to the journey? Why do we see it that way? We have a goal and then we think that it's over. So when it comes to visualizing, one of the things that I didn't do was I couldn't see the person that I wanted to be. I couldn't see the fit body that I wanted to have. I couldn't see what she looked like. I couldn't visualize or even connect to the feeling of how she even felt. And that's probably more important than actually being able to see it, because emotion is one of the most powerful things that we actually have. You know, I thought that if I could reach my weight loss goal, and it wasn't really even like a definitive, like I had to lose, 95 pounds or, all hell would break loose. No, I didn't really have like a goal like that. I had other kinds of ideas, but one of the things that I thought was that I would feel more confident if I lost weight. And that part is true, but if I had been doing the internal work along the way, some of the old things wouldn't have popped up. I also thought that people would treat me differently if I were thinner. And we do live in a society that has a whole bunch of ideas about what excess body fat means and what it represents, and it's really like none of those things. But really and truly, people treated me based on the energy that I was putting out there. So if I was obsessed about my weight, so I let these external factors dominate how I felt about myself, and I was angry and I was frustrated because I saw something in the morning, or a pair of pants didn't fit, or the jacket didn't fit, or what have you, and I took that energy out into the world with me, or into my car, or into the store, people responded to that. And I might not have necessarily known why, and I just always thought, well, they responded to me that way, or they took advantage of me because I was overweight. No, now I see that that wasn't really necessarily how it was. They were responding to the same energy, because we get what we think about, right? So if I'm thinking all of these things about myself, it's impossible for there to be fantastic, positive flow of energy around me if I have all of this negative energy around me about how I feel about myself. We understand that, right? So the other parts of that that I want to talk about is conflict of thought, or conflict of where you are now with where you want to go, or thoughts that are not congruent or in line with the goal. I was working with a client a couple of years ago, and I remember her calling me saying, Rebecca, I've got to lose weight. I've talked to my doctor. They told me that I absolutely must lose weight. So great. So we set up, we go out, I go out, I talk to her, we talk about different things, about what she wanted. I mean, she had it all lined up for the things that she wanted and her goal and these pants. But then she said, I don't want to change a thing about what I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat the same things, same quantities. So I thought, okay, this is going to be interesting, because if your thought patterns and your nutrition patterns, your eating patterns, if you resist any kind of modification, you might not get to where you're trying to go. She couldn't get to where she wanted to go with the kinds of resistant thoughts and that conflict that she actually had. So you can have a conflict within yourself that says, I want to lose weight, but I want to lose weight, but I don't really want to change any of my nutritional habits. Or I want to feel better, but I just am not interested in moving my body. Okay, well, we can kind of see how those kind of things don't really go together. I want to lose weight, but I don't think that I can. Or I want to lose weight, but I just don't want to put in the work. Well, what work are we talking about? We've made it into this really difficult thing about losing weight, and it really didn't have to be that way. It never had to be that way. I could have enjoyed the journey, and there were some parts of it that I really did enjoy. I didn't always appreciate all of the things that I was learning about myself all of the time. But that conflict of you're not willing to do anything or get things in line or get your thoughts in line and your actions in line, but thoughts have to come first, and then in some little bit of inspired action, because you don't want to go against the flow, kind of like the little salmon that goes like upstream, when they spawn. We don't want to go against the flow, because we talked about in another video how your brain can actually begin to create these negative associations when you're forcing yourself to do something. Don't force yourself to do anything. If you don't like exercise, don't start out doing that. If you don't want to change your eating habits, don't start out doing that. Start out with a different way of thinking about some things, and then you can gradually move into those areas that are going to be harmonious with the goal, right? Nutrition in harmony with the goal. That's what this is about. Your thoughts in harmony with the goal. That's what this is about. So this is kind of like wanting and not wanting something at the same time. I think we can all kind of agree that definitely creates like a conflict of wanting and not wanting at the same time, or of wanting but disbelieving, or wanting and resistance. Those things don't really make a good pie, so to speak. During my journey, I had so many frustrating moments because I didn't understand how it worked and all of these things. I had the calorie counting right. There were lots of things that I did right, because I did lose 93 pounds. So there were lots of things that I did right. And I did come up to speed with a lot of my thought patterns, even though I took some steps back. I did come up to speed. But I would often think, God, if I could just wake up thinner tomorrow. Did you ever think that? Did you ever think, why does it have to be this way? Why can't the body just do what I want? Seems like it has a mind of its own. Seems like it has a mind of its own. It just does whatever it wants. It's kind of what we think. It's not really like it's working against you. I mean, there is physiology at play. But I did used to think about that, and then it dawned on me several months ago, and I thought, would my thoughts in my current state, or in my state like at that time, would my thoughts have aligned with the fitter version of myself? In other words, if I woke up tomorrow and let's say that I was 80 pounds lighter, like instantly, which sounds fantastic, what would I do with that body? Odds are is I would probably go right back to where I was. Why? Because my thought patterns built that person and kept me there because I didn't know how to think another way. So this is probably why the body takes its time. I mean, there is physiology at play, like I mentioned. There are some other things, but it's our internal thought patterns that keep us bogged down, you know, keep our wheels like spinning in the mud, right? So if you could wake up then tomorrow, are you in your current state a match for what that body offers? Are you at peace with where you are right now? Not to say that you don't want to be a thinner, more fitter version of yourself. Let's go for fit, because thin doesn't necessarily mean healthy, right? So let's go for fitter. Let's talk in terms of health. Let's just get it right out there. I'm not talking about you should weigh 95 pounds. It doesn't really matter necessarily what weight you are, as long as you are happy in that body and you are healthy. This is about getting to a healthy weight, but first being content and at peace right with where you are right now. It's not easy to do, especially if you don't even know that it's a thing. And especially if maybe you're hearing that and you're going, yeah, but doesn't that mean that if I'm happy right now that just cancels out my desire? No, because you can't take that desire back. You already said that you wanted to lose weight. You wanted a healthier body. But we want to get your thoughts like in line with that goal so there's not a whole bunch of resistance in the way that keeps you from moving forward. So out of all of the mistakes, these 5 are probably the ones that I would consider to be like the biggest ones that I feel that if I had known these things, but you know, this was my journey. It was my journey. I had to come up to speed with what I wanted. I had to learn how to visualize. There were certain things that I did to help me get there. I had to understand that it was about a feeling, that I could feel good no matter what. I didn't have to let the scale like dictate how I felt, or what someone said dictate how I felt, or whether or not I was on or off a nutrition plan. Wait, I think the flowers are attacking me. No, I lost my train of thought. So, in summary, what I want to say was that the things that I learned along the way hopefully will help you not make the same mistakes that I made. Again, it was my journey. There were things that I had to learn. I'm okay with that now. I'm at peace with the long route that it took. It took me longer than probably it did most people. But if I could say these things, be your own best friend. Don't be mean to yourself. If you get off the path, don't beat yourself up about it. You know, because what is really off the path anyway? I mean, aren't there vehicles that are off-road vehicles and they do that on purpose? You know, it's okay to get off the beaten path. You just make another definition, or you define a different way what you want, like at that moment. That's okay. So there really is no off the path. So, but be your own best friend while you are traversing those paths. Like this, I'll just say it that way. The other thing is not letting the environment dictate how you should feel about yourself. I've referred to this multiple times. It's in video number 2 as the second mistake that I feel like I made, was allowing external factors, how I felt about myself, what the scale said, oh, the pants didn't fit, you know, and then I felt bad. Oh, but if they fit, I feel great. But if they feel too tight, then I feel bad. Or if I saw the roll in the mirror, then I feel bad. No. You have to feel good now and then continue on doing what we were doing and keep our eye on the ball, and that's where it has to be. The next one was, the third one was exercise, and using exercise to lose weight. There are great debate, massive debate in this community. You could read all kinds of studies about afterburn and which workouts are better, and I'm not gonna lie, all of those are incredibly fascinating. I drove myself literally nuts trying to figure out where to get the most bang from my buck in terms of workout. So if I have read study after study after study, it's all good stuff. The one that you do is the one that is going to be good for you. It's about movement of the body, whether it is Tai Chi, whether it's kickboxing from Turbo Jam, love me some Turbo Jam, then that's what it is for you. If it's Zumba and you don't have two left feet like I do, then do the Zumba. There are some amazing Zumba instructors that bring a lot of people together with a lot of fantastic music. Do some Zumba. If it's walking in the park, if it's running, if it's bicycling, find your thing that gets the blood pumping and that blood moving through the arteries, and feel exhilarated. Tap into that exhilaration when you're doing it, and remember that feeling of what it feels like when you're working out. So the fourth mistake, in continuing with the summary, was to not obsess about weight loss. It literally was in the background of my mind, playing like a cassette player that would never shut up. It never turned off. So it was like on repeat, Well, you're overweight. Well, you're too big. You didn't fit in that chair. It's like, oh, for God's sake already. I mean, let it go, right? So be at peace with where you are. Love yourself where you are so that you can move forward and you're not taking a bunch of steps back because you've got all of these mean things like running through your mind, because you are perfect just the way that you are, and it's okay to want things. It's okay to want a healthier body. There's nothing wrong with that. Just saying. The fifth thing we talked about was visualization, and actually being able to do the internal work. Don't shy away from that. A lot of people think the internal work is not a big deal, and then they lose weight. We wonder why. This is the one probably biggest reason why. People say, oh, well, they stopped doing what they were doing. Yeah, that's part of it, but why did they stop doing what they were doing? Why? So I always look at the why. I've always been curious about the why. And my conclusion, just my conclusion, is that not only did they stop doing what they're doing, but it was the why they stopped doing what they were doing is because they didn't do the internal work. And that stuff is not easy, man. When you come face to face with things that you're thinking and you're feeling, it is not easy to face those things, confront those things, and then let them go and find new patterns of thinking. And visualization, if you cannot visualize and feel the person that you want to be, might take a little bit longer to get there, because that's just the way it works. You might take some steps forward, you align with the goal, and then you take some steps back. I want to say thank you for allowing me to open my heart to you and share these ideas, my conclusions, my truths, these parts of my journey, things that I've learned. But I also hope that at the same time that you see that these don't have to be your truths. This doesn't have to be your journey. You don't have to have struggled. You don't have to struggle with your weight for 35, and I'm 48. So I think I started my first diet when I was 12. How's that? It's been a rather long journey for me. It doesn't have to be that for you. And I just want you to know that. Reach out to me if you have any questions. You're welcome to leave any comments down below. And I hope to be able to have enough time to respond to them. At any rate, I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care.